You're listening to Lead to Soar, bringing women the best career advice and mentorship from around the world. Lead to Soar is a production of A Career That Soars. Learn more at leadtosoar.com. Hey, Michelle.
Good morning. Hello. Listeners, we're laughing. We're all warmed up because we've just recorded a podcast episode. So we feel like, we've got this whole conversation that we're just going to continue on. So bear with us.
And this is the first live we're doing since we met in person with you here in the U.S. So that was so much fun. And we're going to talk about it today.
God, it was so much fun. My US trip was just so good. I was a traveling Wilbury, so I was in Atlanta, Vegas, Madison, and then New York. Well, New York, but yeah, Madison it was very, very good coming to Madison for our leadership event for A Career That Soars.
Yes. So if you're tuning in for the first time, Michelle and I host a podcast called Lead to Soar, and we work together in an organization supporting women, and we decided to do our first live event this year. So we hosted it here in my hometown of Madison, Wisconsin. We did it downtown at a venue that's right on Capitol Square, and it was our first event. So I think we had some nervousness around coming together for the first time, doing a live event like in person together for the first time, and everything just went pretty swimmingly great.
Thanks to you, Mel, because I have said it before, but I just kind of showed up. I mean, I did show up, as in I showed up in service of our wonderful women that came to work with us, but you did all of the legwork, my friend. You set it up beautifully, and I think it's a bit of a lesson in how do you help people be at their best. You create the environment for them to do that. So you absolutely did that. You meticulous planning, and not only meticulous planning, but the flawless execution of that plan meant that I had a great experience. But of course, it wasn't just about me. It was about you and I, but it was about the folks that showed up to, well, have a transformational experience.
Well, thank you for those lovely compliments. And we do want to talk about our attendees a little bit. So we had just a fabulous group of women. So if you're one of the women who showed up, we want to thank you for choosing to invest in yourself. Thank you for choosing to do that and for showing up in service of your fellow leaders who were at the event. I think we all learned a lot from one another, and it was really special. But Michelle and I want to talk about that theme today of investing in yourself. So kick us off on that, Michelle.
So one of the challenges that I think we have as women, that I know we have as women, is prioritizing. And it's prioritizing ourselves. Now, you can go on to pretty much any platform, and I'm thinking Instagram because I probably spend a little bit too much time on Instagram, but the messaging that women get, there's lots of messaging that women get, but the messaging that women get about put your own oxygen mask on first, self-care, blah, 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 blah. I want to get really clear on what self-care and putting your own oxygen mask on first is all about. It's actually about saying, what action can I take that's going to further my long-term potential? Now, my long-term potential in my employment, so in my leadership career, my economic status, my networks, my strategic networks. So I want to give a shout out to the women, those amazing women that showed up in service of themselves and their long-term potential. Because what they did was saying, I'm going to prioritize 2 days to put my own oxygen mask on first, but not to have a nice bubble bath or a spa or a massage. Don't get me wrong. I like a massage as much as the next person, but it isn't going to help me earn what I need to earn. It isn't going to help me find the job of my dreams, yada, yada, yada. It isn't going to help me be a better leader and to lead myself and organizations more effectively. So those women prioritized themselves to be able to lead themselves and organisations more effectively. And that's what I want to give a shout out to, because that's a really big deal.
Agreed. Completely agree. And there was one situation in particular that stood out to us. And if you've been with us for a while, you know that one of the things Michelle and I talk about quite a bit is how leaders can invest differently, particularly in their female talent pipeline. So leadership training is not a one size fits all. Different people have different needs based on their strengths, how they've been trained, etc. And we know that there are areas where women are consistently under taught and under mentored. And that's a lot of what we emphasize on the Lead to Soar podcast and here on our lives. So the situation that stood out to us with one of the attendees was that she recognized that the leadership program, the sort of standard offering that her company was going to send her to, was not going to meet her needs. And she approached them to say, hey, I would like training, but this one is not what I need. I'd like to do this one instead. And so the company supported her to come to our workshop. What else did you take away from that, Michelle?
The first shout out is that conventional advice, training, coaching, and mentoring is really good for men. It's really good for men, but it's been based on men's needs for 40 or 50 years. And I'm not dissing leadership training, because we need a hell of a lot of leadership training for men, because there's a hell of a lot of men in leadership. But what it fails to do, to your point, Mel, is to hone in on what is missing for women. Not necessarily missing in them, but it's certainly missing in their coaching, training, mentoring, career advice. 97% of women don't get what they need, which is a focus on business, strategic, and financial acumen. And for this particular woman, she recognised that. She knew what she needed to do next in terms of her continuing professional development. And she went, okay, so I'm going to assess what I'm being sent to, and it falls short, but here's something that doesn't fall short. So she advocated for herself to her employer in the context of, this is going to be good for you guys too. So the employer said, yeah, okay, off you go. So it was, I think, a really terrific example of, number one, knowing what's missing in conventional advice to women. Number two, knowing what's missing from what you're being sent to. And number three, advocating for yourself. And again, I always come back to what's going to meet the needs for my long-term potential. And bingo. And she showed up. And boy, she showed up. She was fantastic.
She was fantastic. Shout out to her employer for supporting her, listening to her and supporting her to come to this event. And I'm not sure, we didn't talk about this before, but I think it's safe to say that everything went so well that we are going to do another live person event in Madison in 2023. We're working on dates and everything right now. So that's going to come out, and it's going to be an opportunity, yes, for women to invest in themselves, but it's also an opportunity for companies to invest in their female talent pipeline. So if you're a leader at a company that's serious about supporting women to advance to higher and the highest levels of leadership, this is something that you could consider. And we'll be talking about that more on future lives.
We will indeed. But it was a terrific few days. And I think people, might look at folks like you and I, Mel, who do the facilitation and bring our knowledge and wisdom. But gee, I learn as well. Even the stuff that I'm expert on. I am an expert in leadership. I'm an expert in helping women think like CEOs and reach their full potential. But every time I learn something new, so I get as much out of it as the participants. And it was a joyful experience. And I love the fact that we were in a room of women who were from vastly different industries, relatively from career stages. It was sort of middle senior executive, and we had some women who were making some really interesting transitions. One amazing woman has a startup which is just exciting, but really in tune with her purpose and what she's bringing to the world. So we had a lovely, diverse group of women there. But I love the fact that we had business women in the room and who are getting around each other, business women supporting each other. And for us, this is around how do we help business women everywhere show up in service of themselves, their full potential, and of course their customers and their communities. So I guess it's shown to us that we have such a diverse and eclectic range of women, business women, that we really help to support. And I think the important thing is they help to support each other as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've just been overjoyed with the way that people choose to show up for one another and really offer that kind of support. So absolutely.
It was very, very successful. And like I always talk about being a pebble that gets dropped into a pond, that ripple effect. And we see the ripple effect, the networking that's happening with that group of women, how they're helping each other's businesses. There's 2 days that we're together, but then there's the ripple effect. And it's that sustainable uplift that continues and occurs, which is why we're so committed to doing it again and again and again.
Yeah, absolutely. And some interesting topics came up through our discussions. Some of those are going to come up in future Lead to Soar episodes. We are on break right now, but we're in the recording phase. So we're starting to record episodes for season 5, and we're really excited about that too.
Yep. So stay tuned, folks. And for those of you who are thinking this is the Lead to Soar podcast, it is not. This is just our weekly live where we, as we talk about women, work, leadership and career. But the Lead to Soar podcast, jump into the back catalogue. There are 70 episodes. And if I can use the words of one of my fabulous corporate clients last week, one of the women said to me, "Oh, Michelle, I love the podcast. I'm making my way through it at the moment. It's like having you in my ears, the work that we do in my ears every week." So there you go. So we've got a lot of material for you to cover. And of course, just cherry pick. Look at the titles and say, what do I need right now from Mel and Michelle? Or, of course, our other fabulous guests that we have on the podcast.
Yes, absolutely. And you can find it wherever you download podcasts. You can find Lead to Soar, or you can just go to leadtosoar.com.
But if there is something that you think I'd really like to get Mel and Michelle to, their take on this situation, ping us a note. Ping us a note on LinkedIn or Facebook, or we're not hard to find, put it that way. So send us a note to say, have a talk about this. We want to hear your opinions because, of course, we have opinions about pretty much anything.
It's true. Yeah, we haven't mentioned it in a while, but we do have voicemail things set up on the Lead to Soar website. So you can go there. It's so easy. All you do is go to the Lead to Soar main page and scroll down, click a button, and you can leave us a little audio note. And yeah, we can answer your question or talk about something that's been on your mind related to women in careers.
There you go. Thanks, Mel.
See you, folks. Bye.
Thank you for downloading Lead to Soar. We so appreciate your support in the form of subscribing, rating, and reviewing the Lead to Soar podcast. We especially appreciate when you share Lead to Soar with friends and colleagues. Lead to Soar is hosted and produced by Michelle Redfern and Mel Butcher. To get in touch with either, visit michelleredfern.com and melbutcher.com. Lead to Soar is a production of A Career That Soars. Learn more at leadtosoar.com. Until next time, stay focused and lead on.